The deadline was January 31st, 2026. Keir Starmer held the document. The Horizon Shortfall Scheme application form. Thousands of victims had until 11:59 p.m. tonight. After that, the opportunity closed forever. Across from him sat Gordon Brown, former prime minister, the man who oversaw government contracts with Fujitsu while 700 innocent people were prosecuted. You knew, Starmer said quietly. Brown shifted. We acted on information we had. You knew Horizon was flawed. Starmer's voice rose. Ministers were warned in 2000, yet prosecutions continued 19 more years. This confrontation happened January 30th, 2026, one day before the final deadline, 27 years after Horizon launched. Gordon Brown finally had to answer. 1999, Europe's biggest IT project. Horizon launched in 1999, developed by Fujitsu, implemented across 11,805 post office branches. Europe's largest non-military IT project. Sub-postmasters use it for accounting and transactions. The system was supposed to be infallible. It was catastrophically broken. Phantom shortfalls appeared. £1,000 here, £5,000 there, sometimes £50,000 overnight. Sub-postmasters had no explanation. The post office refused to believe bugs existed. Impossible, they said. If accounts showed shortfalls, sub-postmasters must be stealing. Prosecutions began immediately. By 2000, arrests started, charged with theft, charged with false accounting, lives destroyed by computer errors. Gordon Brown became Prime Minister June 2007. Prosecutions had run 8 years. They would continue 12 more. But Brown's government had unique responsibility. They oversaw Fujitsu contracts, received warnings, did nothing. 13 suicides. The human cost. Sir Wynne Williams led the inquiry. His July 2025 report was devastating. 162 pages documenting systematic destruction. At least 10,000 people impacted. Not just sub-postmasters, spouses, children, employees, entire families. 59 victims contemplated suicide. 10 attempted it. 13 died by suicide. Williams couldn't definitively prove causal connection, but called it a real possibility. Starmer read from the report. 13 people may have killed themselves while you were prime minister, while your government paid Fujitsu millions, while ministers ignored warnings. Brown looked down. Martin Griffiths, sub-postmaster from Ellesmere Port. Account showed £61,000 shortfall in 2008. Post office accused him of theft. He hanged himself before trial. His wife found him. Children lost their father. The shortfall was computer error. Jasbinder Dasrin, sub-postmistress from Kent, pregnant when prosecuted. Died by suicide, 2013. The computer was wrong. She was innocent. Janet Skinner sent to prison. 9 months for theft, age 59. A grandmother. Horizon showed £59,000 shortfall. She didn't steal anything. Tracy Felsted was 19 when prosecuted. Youngest victim, 3 months in Holloway prison. Conviction quashed 2021. 21 years too late. Seema Misra jailed while 8 weeks pregnant. 15 months. Gave birth in prison. Baby's first months behind bars. All because Horizon said money was missing. All because Post Office refused to believe the system was broken. Brown's 3 years of failure. Brown became Prime Minister June 2007. Left office May 2010. 3 years that mattered. During those years, at least 150 sub-postmasters were prosecuted. His government paid Fujitsu hundreds of millions in contracts. His ministers received multiple warnings about Horizon failures. They did nothing to stop it. A 2000 government investigation described the Post Office board as appalling, short-sighted, and partisan. Ministers knew problems existed from the start. Internal Post Office documents from 2000 showed executives were aware of software bugs causing false shortfalls. By 2010, the evidence was overwhelming. Yet prosecutions continued under successive governments. Starmer laid it out methodically. Your government commissioned multiple reviews. You received detailed reports from investigators. Post Office executives testified before parliamentary committees under oath. Everyone knew Horizon was unreliable. Yet you personally allowed prosecutions to continue. The criminal justice system operates independently, Brown started. was fed systematic lies by the post office. Starmer interrupted. They told courts Horizon was robust and secure, said it couldn't be remotely accessed by anyone, said bugs were technically impossible. All deliberate lies, and your government knew the truth. Brown had no defense left to offer. Because in 2009, something deeply revealing happened. The post office signed a confidential legal agreement with Fujitsu. The secret deal explicitly acknowledged bugs existed in branch operators' accounts. It formalized procedures for error corrections. The agreement proved post office knew about problems, yet continued prosecuting, continued claiming Horizon was perfect. This document was discovered January 2026, 26 years hidden. Alan Bates, the man who fought Alan Bates, was sacked from his Craigie Don post office. October 2003, he wrote to North Wales Weekly News. He was furious. The system was faulty. Others were suffering. Bates found victims, linked them, built network. By 2009, formed Justice for Sub-Postmasters Alliance. 555 victims sued together. Group litigation. Court case 2018. They won. £58 million compensation. But after legal fees, victims received little. The battle bankrupted many twice. First from Horizon, then from legal costs. Bates was knighted 2024. Sir Alan Bates. But the fight continued. Starmer referenced this. Alan Bates spent 15 years fighting, organizing victims, funding battles, while your government did nothing. How many lives saved if you'd acted 2009? Brown stayed silent. Hundreds of prosecutions happened after 2009, all preventable, all based on known errors. The ITV drama changed everything. 20 years, the scandal was ignored. Victims campaigned, journalists reported, MPs questioned. Public didn't care. January 2024, ITV broadcast Mr. Bates versus the Post Office. 4 parts, starring Toby Jones. Nation watched. 8 million viewers final episode. Outrage was instant. Phone calls flooded Parliament. Petitions gained millions of signatures. Prime Minister Sunak announced emergency legislation. Post Office Horizon System. Offenses Act passed May 2024. Hundreds of convictions quashed overnight. Families could clear loved ones' names. Fastest exoneration in British legal history. 25 years late, Starmer mentioned this. It took a TV drama, not inquiries, not campaigns, not investigations. A drama on commercial television. How does that feel? Brown looked uncomfortable. The judicial process failed, Starmer shouted. 700 wrongful convictions, 13 suicides, £1.33 billion compensation. Worst miscarriage of justice in British history happened on your watch. Silence. January 31st, final deadline. As they sat, January 30th, thousands faced deadline. Horizon shortfall scheme closed 11:59 p.m. January 31st, 2026. This scheme was for sub-postmasters who experienced shortfalls but weren't prosecuted. People who paid missing money from savings, never took legal action. November 2025, £769 million paid out. Over 6,000 compensated. Many more remained. Post Office sent letters to 16,000 former sub-postmasters, urging them forward, warning about deadline. Some couldn't relive trauma. Some didn't know eligibility. Some had died without justice. 2 options existed. Option 1, accept £75,000 fixed payment. Quick, no assessment. Option 2, full assessment. Potentially higher, but longer. For many, £75,000 barely covered losses. Legal fees, bankruptcy, lost businesses, destroyed reputations. Seema Misra threatened with £60,000 bill by former lawyer. Even after compensation, owed money. Joe Hamilton bought horse after compensation. First treat after years of poverty. She said she was financially secure. Financial security after life destroyed. After wrongful conviction. After years fighting. That was the compensation offered. £1.33 billion. Taxpayers pay. Total compensation, £1.33 billion. January 2026. Horizon shortfall scheme, £769 million. Overturned convictions, £600,000 per person option. Horizon Convictions, Redress Scheme. For May 2024, Legislation Exonerations. Sir Win Williams, Volume 2, not published yet. Would detail systemic failures, assign accountability, potentially increase requirements. Who paid? British taxpayers. Post office is government owned. Every pound came from public funds. Fujitsu contributed nothing. 0. They attended 3 meetings with Department for Business and Trade since 2024 election. No commitment, no payment, no accountability. Starmer raised this. Fujitsu built defective system, destroyed thousands of lives. Your government paid them hundreds of millions. Now, taxpayers paying 1.33 billion pounds. Fujitsu pays nothing. How is that justice? Brown offered technocratic answers about contracts. Starmer wasn't satisfied. You were prime minister, had power, could have demanded accountability, could have investigated Fujitsu, could have stopped prosecutions. You did none of it. Post office. Tax scam, January 2024. BBC revealed something shocking. Post office reduced corporation, tax liability over 100 million pounds by deducting compensation from profits. Tax expert Dan Neidl said this could breach law. Post office might be technically insolvent. Executives may have been overpaid. Think about that. Post office wrongfully prosecuted 700 people, paid 1.33 billion pounds compensation, then claimed tax relief. Taxpayers paid compensation, then lost tax revenue, robbed twice. Meanwhile, executives qualified for bonuses. Jane Davies, former chief people officer, claimed CEO Nick Redd deliberately delayed compensation to hit bonus targets. Slower payments meant executives got paid. Starmer confronted Brown. Post office is government owned. Your government established compensation structure. Did anyone consider tax implications? Did anyone think about victims waiting while executives manipulated bonuses? No answer. 0 accountability. January 2026, Metropolitan Police investigating potential offenses, perverting justice, perjury, fraud, no charges filed, not post office executives, not Fujitsu employees, not anyone. 700 sub-postmasters prosecuted, convicted, imprisoned. 0 post office or Fujitsu employees face consequences. Paula Vanells was CEO 2012 to 2019. Prosecutions continued despite evidence. Awarded CBE public outcry. Forced her to return CBE, January 2024. No criminal charges. Nick Reed became CEO 2019. Wrote to ministers January 2024 saying, Post office would stand by prosecutions in 369 cases. Would oppose appeals. After 2021 High Court exposed Horizon as flawed. After hundreds of convictions quashed. Red still defended prosecutions, no consequences. Starmer raised this. 700 innocent people. 13 may have died. £1, 33 pence billion compensation. Not one person accountable, not one executive charged, not one Fujitsu employee arrested. Explain that. The inquiry is ongoing inquiry finished December 2024. Starmer interrupted. Volume 1 published July 2025. Found executives knew about defects. Where are prosecutions? No answer, no prosecutions. No accountability, no justice. Institutional failure. Horizon scandal revealed fundamental failures. Post office prosecuted knowing evidence was flawed. Crown Prosecution Service accepted prosecutions without verification. Courts accepted Horizon evidence without questioning. Appeal system failed 20 years. Government ignored warnings, paid contractors, allowed injustice. Parliament and MPs questioned, held inquiries, wrote reports. Nothing changed until TV drama forced action. Starmer laid this out. This exposed rot in every institution: criminal justice, corporate governance, government oversight, multiple prime ministers' watches, including yours. The system Brown started failed, Starmer's voice echoed. 700 innocent people convicted because computers lied and institutions believed machines over humans. Your government was part of that. You had power. You didn't use it. Families still fighting. December 18th, 2024. Gareth Thomas addressed Commons. Parliamentary Undersecretary for Business announced government considering additional redress for family members for employees of sub-postmasters. Scandal destroyed more than 700 individuals, destroyed families. Spouses lost homes when partners bankrupted. Children lost parents to suicide or imprisonment. Employees lost jobs when offices closed. Communities where post offices were hubs now empty. 1.33 billion pounds was only for direct victims. Families got nothing. Thomas said he'd report in due course. January 2026. Families still waiting. Starmer referenced this. Families destroyed, children traumatized, communities fractured, government considering whether they deserve compensation. After 27 years, no defense. Everyone now knew. Deadline was 11:59 p.m. January 31st, 2026. Starmer and Brown sat January 30th, one day before final chance. Starmer held application form, Brown held responsibility. You were prime minister 2007 to 2010. Critical years, prosecutions continued, warnings ignored, contracts signed with Fujitsu. What would you do differently? Brown thought. The failures were systemic. Not an answer, Starmer interrupted. 700 innocent people, 13 deaths. What would you do differently? Brown paused, then quietly. Everything. First honest thing he'd said, truth was obvious. Horizon scandal was preventable at every stage by every government. 1999 when bugs appeared. 2000 when ministers warned. 2003 when Bates organized victims. 2009 when Fujitsu agreement signed. 2010 when Computer Weekly exposed scale. Every point, action could have stopped it. Nobody acted. 700 lives destroyed. 13 died. 1.33 billion pounds taxpayer money for compensation. Not one person accountable. January 31st, 2026, 11:59 p.m. Horizon shortfall scheme would close. Victims missing deadline would get nothing. Trauma uncompensated. Losses unrecovered. Justice delayed was justice denied. For victims of Britain's worst miscarriage of justice, denial continued even after acknowledgement. Brown left carrying weight of failure. Starmer remained, holding application form, knowing thousands running out of time. Computer lied, the post office prosecuted. Government failed. Everyone now knew Britain's institutions destroyed 700 innocent lives while people in power watched and did nothing.